I'm Yair Golan, a former general in the Israeli Defense Forces. Until 2017, I was the Deputy Chief of Staff. And since then, I became a politician from a leftist parties. And I serve as a member of the Knesset between 2019 to 2022.
What did you do on Saturday, the 7th, 2023?
Well, in the morning, I started to hear the news from the south, and it sounds, so horrific that
what did you hear? What was the first thing that you knew?
Terrorist in Ofakim, terrorist in the district headquarters of the Home Front Command in Urim. It's far, far away from the front, so it sounds, really, really, really unusual. And therefore, I put on my uniform and went straight away to the Home Front Command headquarters in Ramla. And then I discovered that there is a huge chaos in the south. So I asked the commanding officer of the Home Front Command to be his personal envoy to the south. And that's exactly what I did. I took a rifle and drove.
Who gave you the rifle? Where did it come from? From the command?
From the Home Front Command headquarters. So it was really easy. I'm a well-known person there. I commanded this command for more than 3 years. So I was very welcomed in the headquarters. I know most of the officers and the NCOs. So it was quite, I would say, a warm meeting. And I went to the south. I approached the district headquarters by noon, and the battle there was over. The soldiers and the commanding officer of the district, of the southern district, fought really remarkably good. They managed to kill all terrorists in the barracks. I helped them a bit to reorganize, and then I got a phone call from my sister, asked me whether I can take out of the combating area people who escaped the Nova festival. So I asked her, all right, send me a location, because otherwise I can't find them. So that's what she did. And I drove my car, my private car, Toyota Yaris, fantastic for driving in the fields. And I drove my car and found them. I took them out of the combating zone, and then I got another phone call, and then I got another phone call. So it went on, 3 times. All in all, I took 6 guys out of the Nova Festival, out of the combating zone, and managed to bring them to safety. And then the days after, I remained in the south and went from, one unit to another unit, visited most of the kibbutzim from Be'eri to the north, in order to understand what happened, in order to encourage the troops, and in order to provide first-handed intelligence to the Home Front Command headquarters, in order to shape the right policy and the right methods. And it was, I think, quite effective.
What did you see in the kibbutzim? What did you see in the houses that you visited?
Well, we need to say that what we have experienced is a brutal, cruel attack by savages who went into the kibbutzim, killed babies, women, pregnant women, burned houses. It was so outrageous. It was horrific. And this is something I wouldn't, imagine in my life that could happen here in the state of Israel. And I think it's a kind of a wake-up call. We need to understand who are we fighting, and we need to understand that there is nothing like, handling the conflict or, limit the conflict between us and the Palestinians. Conflicts need to be solved. And it's by military measures and by diplomatic measures and by economical measures and by a policy. What we experience in the last 14 years under the rule of Netanyahu is zero policy. Sit and do nothing. And by doing so, we weaken the Palestinian Authority from year to year and in strengthening our worst enemies like Hamas and the Jihadic Islam. And this is outrageous, and we need a government which is trusted, a prime minister who is a real leader, honest leader, and we need a policy, how to move forward with initiative, how to move forward, as I mentioned, with military initiative and civilian initiative in order to get a comprehensive policy for the state of Israel and in order to solve the Palestinian issue once and for all.
Yair, you told me that you never thought something like this can happen. You're the Deputy Chief of Staff, one of the prominent candidates to become a Chief of Staff. What did you think in real time? What should be happening with Gaza? How the problem of Hamas that controls Gaza since 2007 should be solved?
Well, it will be a very long campaign. We need to think in terms of, the United States of America after September 11th declared a war on terror, on global terror. And it lasted for years, for 20 years at least. So we need to think in the same terms. I can see a reasonable conducting of this war without the following. First, we need to solve the problem of the hostages. Secondly, we need to have a trusted government. You cannot win a war with an untrusted government, with ministers who are criminals. This is outrageous, and it won't happen. Therefore, we need to replace this government and then to fight decisively this long war against terror. And it doesn't matter whether it's in the West Bank, in the Gaza Strip, or in Lebanon, Syria, or elsewhere. Yes, we are going to fight it and we are going to win it. But we need a trusted government for that.
I want to ask you about the past, because we are talking now about the fall on the conception that you can deter Hamas, that you can make some kind of deal with the Hamas. This is what Prime Minister believed. This is what many people in the military intelligence believed. What did you think about Hamas and the danger of it in Gaza while you were still in the army?
Well, I would like to explain what is the misperception concerning deterrence. Deterrence is a fictional term. Deterrence, exists in the minds of people. And you don't know exactly what the others have in their minds. So deterrence is a very limited term. And we need to understand that there is a threshold for any deterrence. If the motivation for a better future, or if the level of suffer is too high, deterrence could vanish immediately, by day. And you can't know when and where it happened. So we need to think, I would say, in depth in order to understand that deterrence is a very limited term, and there is no deterrence for eternity. We are talking about our enemies, and they want to kill us. And we need to understand that this deterrence cannot exist without offensive approach. From military perspective, the fact that we were in defense without attacking Hamas over and over and over again, this is a shame. The same is true concerning the Hezbollah in the north. Of course, there is a price for it. But if you want to deter your enemy, you need to be on the offensive all the time.
Can you really deal with enemies such as Hamas and especially Hezbollah without dealing with the primary source of it, Iran? I'm not saying that that there are no other causes, of course, but I mean Iran as a sponsor of Hezbollah, Houthis, partly Hamas, Islamic Jihad for sure. What can you do with this?
Well, it's not necessarily means that you need an open war with Iran tomorrow morning. In fact, we are fighting Iran on a daily basis for many, many years. And therefore, I think that it's a matter of, operational approach, how to conduct this war. So here and there, you need to hit Iran directly. It could be done by clandestine measures, but it's directly. And here and there, it's better to deal with the proxies of Iran. And we need to admit that it's extremely complicated to fight Iran directly because it's about 1,400, 1,500 kilometers to the east of Israel, so it's really complicated. We are not the United States of America with carrier groups and, this ability to project forces, overseas. So we need to understand our limitations, and therefore the main campaign is against the proxies of Iran on our borders. And this threat on our borders is totally unacceptable, and then, therefore, yes, somewhere in the future, and I believe not in the far future, we need to destroy Hezbollah. There is no other. I don't see other, ability to live safely along the northern border, and especially after the example we got from Hamas in the south of Israel, in the southern part of Israel. So I would say that what we see right now is the opening phase of a new era, and this new era will be completely different than comparing to anything we experienced before.
Please walk me through what should be happening right now in the West Bank, because I think that, and I think that we agree on this, that one of the dangers right now to Israel, it's not only the joining of Hezbollah to the front, but the serious deterioration in the West Bank and perhaps collapse of the Palestinian autonomy.
Well, here I think the policy is quite clear, from my perspective, of course. We need a civilian separation with security responsibility. It's very simple and very hard to implement. Yeah. First and foremost, we need to lessen the civilian friction. And the meaning of that we need to shape our future borders, like we started to do during the implementation of the disengagement plan in 2005. Yes, it was good for Israel, lessening the civilian friction. By doing that, you provide less and less opportunities for terrorists. But you can do that while you keep security responsibility in your hands. So we should not do the same mistake like we did in the Oslo process or like we did in the implementation of the disengagement plan in 2005. That was wrong. So overall, security responsibility, on all the Judea and Samaria area, on all the West Bank, but at the same time lessening the civilian friction. In order to do so, we need to, of course, by shaping our future borders, we need to say to the settlers, to the most extreme elements in the Israeli society, where it's possible to be and where is not. And yes, Israel needs borders. Without borders, you cannot control your own population. So I think this is one of the main national goals for any future government in Israel.
Yair, you paid a dear price when you said what now everybody understands, that you were right about it, that there are dangerous processes in the government, in the society, that remind you of darker times. And you joined the left party, Meretz, which is basically extinct from the Knesset. But in the West, you see how leftist movement say that what you say and what your friends say, it's not enough. They would want you to take full responsibility for all of the atrocities and to say that, yes, Israel is responsible even also for the death of its own people. And basically they talk about simplistic measures like stop the apartheid. What does it actually mean? Were you surprised that this is happening in the left part of the sphere, of the political sphere in the US and in Europe?
Yeah. I think the leftists in the world lost their way. And the main manifestation of that is losing the moral compass. Come on. Killing babies, it's all right? This is the way you fight for your freedom? No. This is outrageous. This is, atrocities. And we need to eliminate them from earth. This is not the way we fight. And
they would tell you that there are dead babies in Gaza right now from the airstrikes.
We ask all civilians in the Gaza Strip, move south of the Gaza River, and you will be safe.
River?
Yeah. River, creek. It's a creek rather than a river. Yes, you are right. You are right. Yeah. But yes, you can you can reach a safety regions in the Gaza Strip in order to save your life. But we have no intention to play according to the rules of Hamas. And Hamas forces on civilians to remain in the most dangerous places in the Gaza Strip. And we need to acknowledge that. So I think that after such outrageous attack, outrageous raid on our civilians, we have all justification to fight Hamas decisively. And we have no intention to give up. There is no other way. We need, on the one hand, to fight terror decisively, and on the other hand, to promote peace wherever it's possible. This is the right policy for Israel and for the world.
How do you think Israel should explain itself today? Because we see that the leaders of the world, also some leaders of the Arab world, they seem to support Israel in its fight against Hamas. But the citizens, on the other way, you see huge manifestations also in the Arab countries, moderate Arab countries. You also see it in the Europe, in the campuses in the US. What Israel is doing wrong?
Let the common people who managed to survive after the brutal attack to speak. Very, very simple. Just let them speak. Yesterday I visited those who survived the attack on Kibbutz Cholit and Kibbutz Be'eri and Kibbutz Kisufim in the south, in the enveloping area of the Gaza Strip. And I can tell you, it's devastating stories. How mothers managed to save the life of their babies, how fathers pay in their lives in order to save their families, and many, many stories about those who didn't survive. And in some cases, they were raped, they were tortured, and they were burned to death. This is the true story, and you just need to move from one location to the other location, meet the, in fact, refugees in their own country, and hear them and understand them. And yes, maybe from the outside it looks, far away conflict without true people who are truly beaten by terrorists. But if you meet these people, you start to understand to what extent we fight a brutal enemy.
As we are speaking right now, we have this endless parade of leaders from the West that are coming to Israel, supporting the Israeli people, and this is of course very moving. Some Israelis, though, think that the idea behind these solidarity trips is also to keep Israel away from ground operation. And it was rumored in the New York Times that there are fears in the American administration that there is no good enough of a plan. Does Israel indeed doesn't have a plan for its fight in the south?
Well, I think it would be irresponsible for me to say something about the operational plans. I don't know the exact operational plan, and I don't see all the intelligence and the operational considerations. But I would say the following. First, and I think I mentioned that, we need to solve the problem of the hostages. Then we need a trusted government. And then we will fight decisively Hamas, Jihad Islam, and any other terrorist organization. This is what we should do. Operational questions, all right, I don't know. I don't see all the intelligence. So therefore, I think this is not something for public discussion. I think that the IDF is ready, but I think the readiness of the IDF is not the most important issue right now. Strategic consideration and international considerations are more important at this stage of the campaign.
You were mentioning the hostages, and this is something that it's a pain that settled in the heart of, I think, every Israeli since October 7th. I cannot go to sleep without thinking of the kids who are there, and I look at my own kids and I cry. Do you think that any price is good enough to pay?
Yes, I think that the question of the price right now is irrelevant. If it's needed, to free 6,000 Hamas prisoners from our prisons, it's okay. This is not the question. We need to bring them back. And after that, fighting Hamas, anyhow, it will last for 4-5 years at least. So no need to hurry. We need to regroup as a nation. We need to understand what are our goals, and while fighting Hamas, we need to define what are our goals concerning the Palestinian arena.
The last question, Yair, is what are your political plans? Because everybody is speaking about now the responsibility of the government should go. And then I hear a lot of voices that say, well, first of all, we don't know how we can make them go. And second, what will be next? What will be happening
I think we need a political entity which represents this willingness to fight decisively terror, and at the same time to achieve the political goals of Israel in a peaceful manner. And there is no contradiction between the two. What we need to provide our citizens is the following: security, safety. They need to feel they live in a safe country. This, and any government, should provide this essence by any possible measure, militarily, diplomatically, economically, and so on and so on. This is the only way to move forward. And in order to achieve that, we need a strong political entity that takes this principle and make them something real in the political arena.
A role for moderate Arab states, the partners for Abraham Accords, Egypt and Jordan, for the next stage of bringing security back?
We cannot predict the future exactly, but we can shape the destiny by start walking on the right path. And I have no doubt that Israel, on the one hand, should be a very strong country militarily, and on the other hand, we need to seek for peace wherever it's possible. And by combining these two principles, we will survive in this troubled area for eternity.
Thank you very much, Yair Golan.
Thank you. Thank you.